got me.
Yeah! It's been a while since I've done that. Name over here, Dustin over there. Yes! We're going into week 11. Start us off with a tip there, guy. Get the heart pumping a little bit. It's football time. It's almost playoff time. Heart pumping.
It's almost playoff time. And this is the time of year where I'm going to call it bench spring cleaning, even though it's not spring. We've touched on it a little bit on some shows, but you got to take a long look at your bench. What's the likelihood of anyone on your bench making your starting lineup? You know, if you have your backup quarterback and you have luck, you're not starting.
Yes, for the love of God, definitely cut the backup. That annoys me so much.
You got a backup tight end and you got Jimmy Graham.
Definitely cut him.
Cut him.
Annoys me.
If you have Decker or Welker and they're your wide receiver 4 or 5.
Breaks my heart.
I mean, you just got to look at it from that standpoint. Who's going to make your starting lineup? At this time of year, I don't mind planning out your defenses for the rest of the year. Maybe you carry 2, even 3 defenses in some extreme cases because they're going to be in your starting lineup.
And also handcuffs. So you're dropping off your backup handcuffs. And you're picking up Blunt if you have Bell or Randall.
Randall.
If you have DeMarco, he loves Randall.
Well, he's only on 5% of leagues.
I'm well aware. I'm sure they're well aware as well.
Ridiculous. He's going to be good when Murray gets hurt. All right, but that's it for that. Take a look at your bench. Upside, upside, upside.
Look, yeah, you want your best starting lineup, and you want to be safe, so. All right, Dustin, you going to ask me first, or am I asking you first?
Go for it.
I'm going to ask you first. This comes from Dion03. It's got a flex spot question. Sproles at Green Bay. We're not sure about return yards and all that, but we did Monday night. Or Cooks at home, which is key, versus Cincinnati.
Tough. Very tough. Both kind of boom or bust type guys. I like Sproles, though. It's
interesting.
It's tough. I mean, I put them in. They're the same player, except for their different positions.
Yeah, I was about to say there's a big difference.
Sproles is the Cooks of running backs, and Cooks is this.
Yeah,
you know my opinion. But even if you don't get points for return yards, you probably get points for return touchdowns, and I still think there's a chance that Sproles could do that. It's risky either way. This is a toss-up in my opinion. Brent's going to say Cooks.
Fun note, Cooks at home averages 80 yards a game. On the road, he averages 37 a game. They're at home.
You could definitely
I like him in the dome.
That Cooks is probably safer.
All right, ask me a question since I hijacked yours.
DeBaste 08, which running back? Jonathan Stewart versus Atlanta, Ryan Matthews versus Oakland.
Slam dunk for me, Ryan Matthews. Ooh. He's going to start, it looks like. They're saying like 15 touches. I would much rather take a Ryan Matthews 15 touches against a terrible Oakland run defense than Jonathan Stewart, just because Carolina could put up 7 points or 10 points, and San Diego against Oakland, I'm thinking over 30 points. I just think Matthews has more of an opportunity. It's risky, it's scary, but I like Matthews. All right, Dustin, bonus question. Long-time listener, long-time friend of the show, Jason Halverson, Big Money League wants to know Denard Robinson and Percy Harvin he'd be giving up, and he'd get back A.J. Green? That's a trade nowadays?
We talked about this a little bit before the show. He has decent running back depth.
He's got Forsett, Lacey, C.J. Anderson, and Matthews.
If you didn't have decent running back depth, no chance. You're not doing it. Because Denard's legit. How can you not be excited what he's been doing?
The rest of the way, you're redrafting Denard's what? Like a 10th? I mean, do you have him top 10 running back?
Yeah, I think he's late second round. Late second, early third for what he's done and his lack of competition and the amount of touches that he's been getting. You got to be excited about that. I mean, I see this as you're overpaying to get a slight upgrade at receiver, but you have the running back depth to do it. In a lot of cases, I wouldn't do it. This case, it's close, but I think it's fine. Adam Fireball, which receiver? Roddy White at Carolina. Brandon Cooks versus Cincinnati. Brandon LaFell at Indy. Larry Fitz versus Detroit.
I didn't review this one prior to the show. Going Roddy White. I've liked Roddy prior to the year. He had that little lull in it, but he's really started to get it together. I know that line's terrible for Atlanta, but they throw the ball a ton. And Carolina's defense, we all saw what happened on Monday night. It's just not nearly as good as it used to be. When Mark Sanchez can shred you for over 300 yards, I'm pretty confident that Matt Ryan will be able to as well. But this is very close. Obviously, I talked about Cooks. I like him. LaFell always has a big upside. Add a Fitz because Carson's out. But Roddy, to me, just has the best chance to get into the end zone. I'm going with Roddy.
All right, let's move those duds, sleepers, and deep sleepers. My dud, I'm going with Lamar Miller. Buffalo's defense is good.
It's good. Real good. Their front, ooh.
They look good. Lamar Miller's banged up. The Thursday night games have just been, please get rid of the Thursday night games. Give me a Saturday night game.
No, give them the Sunday morning London game. That was awesome.
Friday night game, something.
No, Sunday morning. Sunday morning was awesome.
I'm okay with that.
They're going to listen to us, so we got to be unified.
I'm sure
here.
they will.
Goodell.
Not liking Lamar Miller. My sleeper, I'm going with Teddy Bridgewater coming off the bye. Chicago, they're really soft against opposing quarterbacks. I think Bridgewater could get things going. I think he's a pretty safe.
Who did you just drop for Bridgewater?
I dropped Cam Newton for Bridgewater.
Finally.
At least he salvaged the game. I couldn't believe he kept him in the whole game. He still had a decent game fantasy-wise. And my deep sleepers is Sanu going up against New Orleans. He still got targeted a lot last week. Dalton was just terrible.
It was so ugly.
It was so ugly. You know, you got to think this could be a high-scoring game. I'm just saying, don't write off the Bengals just because of how bad they looked last week. They're a good offense. They did this one other game earlier in the year, but other than that, they've been solid. So don't write off Sanu. Start him as you normally would. I like him.
All right, my dud is going to be Ben Tate versus the Houston Texans. And here's the thing. I've been seeing Ben. I mean, obviously, if you've owned him, you've probably owned him and dropped him and picked him up and had West and dropped West, picked him up. It's been all over the place. Here's my thing. I know Tate's been kind of decent the last 2 weeks, and I've seen him actually get added in a bunch of leagues that I play in. I still prefer West over him going forward, so I'm not going to have Tate ranked in my top 25 at running back, so hence my bust. My sleeper, we already talked about him, Ryan Matthews. He's going to start. They're looking at, they said about 15 touches. If it's anywhere close, I think that could easily creep up to 20. And give me 15 touches of Ryan Matthews versus a soft Oakland defense. I like that. I also like him goal lines. He should be getting those as well. I think he falls into the end zone this week. And my deep sleeper is going to be your boy, your tight end.
Oh, Rivera.
You love Rivera. It's a Dustin boy. I'm stealing him. I can't bring him completely onto the Nameco side, but he's gotten a bunch of targets the last 3 weeks, found in the end zone. It's garbage time. He's great in garbage time. The rookie quarterbacks, it's, you know, you always hear it's their security blanket, their safety net for rookie quarterbacks is the tight end, but guess what? It's true.
He'll have one catch going into the fourth quarter and give you solid numbers for the week.
He will.
All right, so moving to Mike's picks. His dud, Andre Johnson. Tough matchup against the Browns. He's not really liking that. It could have some Joe Hayden action on him. And they got a little quarterback switch going on out there in Houston. So it could be a little tricky with Andre Johnson. His sleeper, Brandon Oliver.
That's interesting to me.
The sleeper?
Yeah.
Well, you know, you got to think, you know, they're not just going to jump and just give Matthews a full workload. There's a good chance they're going to be playing with a lead. You know, I think his main thing with Oliver is just because Matthews coming back, that doesn't mean that Oliver instantly goes to your bench.
He will be moved up on the FST rankings.
Like
That's a very good call. I will be moving him up tonight.
And his deep sleepers, Josh McCown. You know, he got the job back. He's got a decent matchup against Washington, and you gotta like who he's throwing the ball to. He's got some nice receivers out there, so he wants to throw his paper.
He yells at me after the show if I'm loud.
I'm trying to be quiet.
I was.
You're wrinkling paper while I'm talking and trying to be quiet.
I didn't do this.
At least it would have been quicker.
Face.
At least it would have been quicker.
Oh!
That was pretty good.
Followed by a terrible finger point.